Let's make a pumpkin spider. We're coming into the spooky season, so I thought I could just make this my very first tutorial. If you want to do a reference photo of a pumpkin or a spider, you can click this icon right here and turn on reference photo. That way you can bring up a reference photo in there. Or if you do what I do, I just look at my computer and look directly from my computer down to my iPad because I work with a small iPad. We're gonna work with symmetry, so we're gonna wanna turn this on. We're gonna select the move tool. See, the symmetry's on, but we're gonna go up into this mirror symmetry icon and it'll have symmetry at the top. We're going to look at our planes. So X is up and down, Y is side to side, and Z is front to back. So we're gonna turn off all the planes and we're gonna work with a radial, and we're gonna turn this on to 8. So if you tap it, you can just type in 8, or you can click and drag. And we can go ahead and color this. This little icon right here is your paint option. So if you click paint, you can draw your colors on, or to paint everything, you can click this little paint icon, figure out what color you want it. So you can have, this is your box, you can have your radial, or you can have this. I like this to be able to drag down my, say you want orange, but that's too bright, then you can just drag it down to make it less bright. And I feel like we need a little bit more red, so we're gonna come down to about right there. That looks good. And then we're gonna select paint all. Okay, we need to draw our indents first, I feel like, before we start making the sides bigger. Down at the bottom, you'll see this grid. If you tap that, it turns on your grid so that you can be more precise with where you lay lines, etc. And then we're gonna come over here to our masking tool. You have 2 different options. This mask allows you to paint a mask on, and the other one allows you to come in here and use these different tools. A line will just be that. It'll create a line and highlight or mask wherever that line is. We are going to use this rectangle, and of course an ellipse as a circle, you can do centered, but for this tutorial I'm just going to show you what we're going to do for this specific model. So I'm going to use this center line, this green line, and use that as a reference of where I'm going to draw my rectangle. So I'm going to get it pretty narrow and drag it all the way down. And remember, our mirror is on, so it'll be perfectly symmetrical. And then we're going to go up to our gizmo, and if you hover over the outside line, it'll highlight, meaning that's the one that you're selecting. We're going to click and drag up to about right there. So you notice everything that's not highlighted or masked is what's moving. The masked areas stay where they originally were. So now you can hit your mask and clear all. You don't really have to worry about cleaning up the lines just yet. I'm just going to adjust. What I did was if you tap on the sides, it'll move it to that spot. You can click and drag, or if you tap the top, it'll move directly to the top. So what I did there was I just tapped that front, and then I'm going to drag it until one of the sides is facing me, like so. I'm going to do my inflate icon, and I'm going to move up my stylus, or the area surface. You can see it's not going beyond the lines. I just want that to be as close as possible. And then over here is your intensity, and I'm going to bring this down quite a bit because if we were here, then it's going to be like that, and I don't want it. I want to build up. I like to build up from a small intensity. So we're just going to get the belly of the pumpkin for right now, and I'm just kind of, you can see it over here. I'm just coming in and I'm just building up. If I want it, I'm just going to get the sides here, so I'm going to move this intensity down to maybe 100 or 99 or whatever. And then I'm just going to lightly hit these sides. And I'm just building up that surface. And you work with this until it's to your liking. I'm just kind of going to move it, drag, and I'm going to build up here. And I'm just hitting these areas where they're maybe a little too low. So you just kind of work with this. And this is going to be for Halloween, so you really don't want it super perfect anyway. So don't worry about being perfect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the smooth tool. And I'm going to bring the intensity up to about 25. And I'm just going to hit the indentions here very lightly. We don't want to take all the detail away, but we do want to make it a little bit smoother. So I'm tapping and dragging. I'm not continuously pressing on my screen. If I did, it would really flatten this out. So I just come in here and I'm tap, 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 tapping. Okay, that looks pretty good. It looks wonky, but that's exactly what we want for a pumpkin. And I'm gonna hit my gizmo tool. I'm gonna tap my front so it goes back to the front. And pumpkins aren't, I mean, some of them are round, but I really want mine to look like this. That's pretty good. Okay. Our pumpkin's looking good. You can take time, mess around. You can come in here and this is your time to figure out what these icons do, what these tools do, and just come in and just make it your own. So this is clay, and you can see the subtract is on, so it's going to take away from the pumpkin instead of add to the pumpkin. So maybe that's on the top, and then you come in here and maybe you just add bring this intensity down to 4, and then just kind of add texture to your pumpkin. I think that would look really good, especially since it's going to be for a spider. We're going to add some fur later, but for right now, you can make it look like hairlines using your clay tool. I'm just clicking and dragging. It's not continuously building up in one area. See, this is what that would look like. I'm just lightly coming in. I'm just adding texture anywhere and everywhere. I think that looks so good. Okay, we're gonna hit the front. And now let's go ahead and add our eyes. Our add icon. And we're going to select this quad sphere. If you select this icon right here, it turns it into the gizmo. That way you can move it around. We're going to bring it forward. And that way you can see the size comparison between this eye and your body of the pumpkin. So selecting that outer ring, we're going to bring the size down quite a lot. I'm going to hit my face, and then you can see you can move this up and over, and that's way too small. We want this pumpkin spider to be almost, that's pretty good. Option panel with these 3 dots at the top, and you're going to see these max faces, post subdivision, linear subdivision, and this is how, let me bring this over so you can see. This is kind of how you are looking at your vertices, which is, or pixels, if it's more, this would be more pixelated, or however you, whatever the terminology is for that. If you bring this up, you can see we're adding more pixels. Smooth, and we don't need it to be perfect for our eye anyway. And then we can validate. And we're gonna come down in here to our paint icon, and we're gonna make these eyes pretty dark, but I still want, like, see how it's still a little orange instead of pitch black? I'm gonna bring this up to about there, and then we're gonna paint all. I tapped on the screen and I'm holding my finger down and I am moving that camera angle. And then where I can see the left side of on our sphere over here, we're gonna click that and then pinch and zoom in, and then we're gonna move this eyeball into the pumpkin. That looks pretty good. We can always adjust this at any time, so don't worry. If you want to bring it out just to kind of look at it, that's fine too. I'm going to hit my front, and then this is so cool. I love this feature. Into this tab, and you can go ahead and name these. We're going to name this eye. And we'll name this body. That way, make sure you're selected, you've selected eye, and go in here to your add and make sure that on gizmo is turned off, but select gizmo is turned on. And then at the repeaters tab right here, we're going to do mirror. That mirrors it from, if you turn on your grid, that mirrors it from this center line. And since we use symmetry for our pumpkin, you know that's going to be exactly where it needs to be. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to turn my grid off. And here's what we can do. You have a couple of different options. What I'm going to do is, instead of adding another eye, painting it, scaling it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this mirror and the eye together, and I'm going to click clone. That'll give me this exact same setup, except they're separate now. So now that both of these are selected, that's just showing you that it cloned it. What you can do is unselect the mirror, and when you move this down, it's going to move the other eye too. If you select both of them, then it moves the whole thing together. So if you move it over here, it's no longer if you turn on grid, it's no longer going to move from the center line, which you don't need to work with the whole as a whole. So then I'm going to turn my grid off. I'm going to make sure that this, if you tap on objects, then it selects that object. So I'm going to just select this right eye, hit my gizmo, and we're going to move this one over here. We need to make it a little bit smaller, so highlight that outer ring. And you really get to put this wherever you want to put it, but I'm going to move it more to the outside over here. And I think I'm just going to, I feel like that's good. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Just play around with this, see what looks better. You can always change them at any time. Okay, so then let's say that's 4. We need 4 more. So the same thing, I'm going to select this mirror with this eye. So they're both selected. I'm going to clone that. That gives me another set of eyes. And then you can select the one, either one really, but then you can move these. This is a made-up spider, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to make these smaller. And, uh-oh, my pencil's dying. Let's go ahead and bring them up just to see. So we'll select this one and clone. And you can either select an object from your panel, or you can tap on it, which is usually what I do. And then pull it let's see, this one maybe, I'm trying to make them, so this one needs to come maybe out. Okay, I want to show you something real quick. Do you see how if we needed this eyeball to go this way, if you pull this, it's gonna make the whole thing bigger or smaller. What you can do is see this pivot tab over here. While this is open, you can mess around with this gizmo. So I always make sure that it's centered to my object. And then these lines represent, this is the X plane, this is the Y plane, and this is the Z plane. I'm going to rotate this so that the red arrow, which is your X plane, it's going to be in the direction that I want to pull this eyeball. So I'm just going to rotate it this way. And then you can close that tab, and then you can pull it in that direction and not any other. So now it's moving in those certain planes. And I want this eyeball to look the same depth as the small one. I know I like my big eyes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll, I'm going to pinch and zoom. I'm going to tap my pumpkin to select it, and we're going to work with clay for right now. This up to maybe 8, and then maybe 64, and I'm just going to start building this kind of eyebrow, I guess you could say. And hopefully you can, oh, okay, hang on. I apologize. Do you see how it's gonna do, you're still in, the symmetry is still on 6. We just need it to be 2. So I'm gonna have to undo. Go up into this tab up here, your symmetry tab, and turn this all the way back down to 1. And your plane now should be turned on to X. And it'll show you that line. We need it to be perfectly symmetry. Half of the pumpkin, half of the pumpkin. Then when we come in with our clay tool, it's only going to do above each eye because that's the plane. If you look at your grid, it's going to be exactly symmetrical on that line. So when we come in, I'm going to start building this eyebrow up. Play around with it. So what I'm seeing now is this eyeball is protruding way more than I want it to. So I'm going to click this eye and then select gizmo. And here's where we're going to have to move our gizmo, because if I come and click this blue dot, let me show you, let me pull it out here. If you pinch this, see how it moves it, makes it thinner? It's gonna do it on that plane. So what I'm gonna do is come into my pivot tool and selecting the outside ring, we're gonna make it to where now, if we move this, it's going to come from this direction and be towards the body of our pumpkin. So let me show you. So now when we do it, see how it brings the eye towards the body? We'll do this for each eye. And only do it to however you want it. If you want it protruding, you do you. So now we're gonna tap our pumpkin, use our clay tool, and we're going to build up around that eye. You can kind of see it over there, like the little strokes that I'm making. That looks pretty good. I like that. And then we can smooth it out just a little bit by switching to our tool and just kind of coming in and smoothing that out just a little bit. I don't want to do it too much because I do like the texture. And we can also do that. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn my grid off. We're going to do the same thing for this eye. I need to pinch this, so I'm going to hit select it, eyeball, hit our gizmo, go to pivot, and then I'm going to rotate this up so I can see a little bit more. And then we're going to make sure it's centered. It is. And then we want whatever direction you're going to make this thinner is the way you want your arrow to go. That way when I select this blue dot and pinch it, it will go towards the body. I'm just going to rotate this so I can look at all angles. That looks good. I'm going to select my clay tool. This is at like 30 through 32, and this is at like 15. You can always come in here and make this intensity as much as you want it. Okay, you see how I forgot to select my pumpkin. So I'm going to tap that. You can always come in here and make it like really bold and then just kind of smooth it out. But I really, really like to just build up from a small intensity, like 12, and then just kind of build with little taps. I'm going to bring this out just a little bit so it's not just a ring around the eye. And then we'll hit our smooth and just kind of smooth this out. Don't want to get rid of all the texture though. Click and drag, look at it, see how you like it. I'm gonna make this a little bit more smooth. That's looking pretty good. If you want to be more dramatic, let's make it more dramatic. We'll come in and we'll hit our clay. So you have a couple of options. I like clay because it gives you a nice texture, but if you use inflate, that just inflates it, makes it look bloated. I do use inflate a lot, but for like specific things. For stuff like this, I prefer to just build up with clay. So I can make this bigger and really come in here and give it a nice thick eyebrow. Okay, and then to make it look like a socket, then we can come over here and click our subtract. We're going to bring this radius down, and we're going to move this up. And then watch here. I'm going to make sure my pumpkin is subtract. Okay. When you start taking away your pumpkin here, here's some things that you can see down here. If you do solo, it means it's going to show you only the pumpkin, whatever's selected. If you select the eye and click solo, it's only going to show you that eye. If you hit X-ray, it'll essentially make everything transparent, which is really nice because now you can really see those eyes and everything. For right now, we're working on our pumpkin, so we want X-ray. And we're going to move this up, the radius, And we're just going to start carving out the eye area. Which, do you see how it's giving this rounded effect? And I'm going to do that all the way around the eye. And if you hit X-ray, it'll turn it off. X-ray will turn it on. I do that back and forth so I can kind of see what it looks like. You see how it's starting to carve that eye socket? Looks pretty good. I'm gonna add a little, I'm gonna add a little bit of like beef over here, just so that it's not just the eyes. And then we can start working on this one. Smooth it out. And clay, subtract, X-ray, and come in and kind of start making that round socket. Turn X-ray off so you can look at it. It's looking pretty good. Okay, do I like where these eyes are sitting? Let me zoom out. I feel like I'm gonna move them up, I think. I'm gonna hit my gizmo. I feel like they should just go like maybe there. Something's throwing me off. I'm gonna call it good though. Okay, we are going to pause and go to part 2.